What's going on, Conscious Crew? It's your favorite breakdown commentator, CTV. Welcome to another riveting episode of the Consciouztv platform. You already know what we're here to talk about. Before we get into it, go ahead and thumbs up the video until it's absolutely stuck. You guys know that thumbing up the video not only helps with YouTube's algorithm, but more importantly, it triggers up YouTube's notification system. So when you are thumbing up the video, you are literally knocking on the digital door of another Conscious Crew member and letting them know to get their arses in to the sanctuary. Shout out to all the new subbies. Make sure that you guys have your notification bell set to all. And last but not least, please share the stream out to wherever it is you have digital community, whether that be your YouTube community wall, your Snapchat, your Facebook, your MySpace, the dark side of Twitter, Tumblr, or your personal OF. I don't really give a damn where you lay the link. Just let them whores know that we're loud, we're live, and we're certainly in color. And with no further ado, let's go ahead and push on through.
I know a place where you can recharge your soul.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
And in the midst of brokenness, he gon' see your asshole.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
You gon' heal, you gon' laugh and catch a little shade.
Ooh, girl.
Y'all know he be slaying, y'all better stop playing. Come hear what he's saying.
Ladies and gentlemen.
All right, let me speak to the Conscious Crew in the building. This ain't gonna be a long video. I just had some thoughts that I wanted to share. You guys can take the meat and completely spit out the bone. All right. Hey Sherry, what's going on? Carolyn, what's going on? Sharon, hey Gabriella, hey Nicole, what's going on? Thundercats, hey Yolanda. What's going on, Andrew? Hey, Shayla. Thank you, Nicole, for the nasty piece of 51 on period. So I was laying here in my glory girl, and I was just thinking, because, we're living in this age of exposés and this, that, and the third, and everybody is indulging in social media and using social media to get their rocks off and to just stump the yard on folk who have hurt them and betrayed them and abandoned them, and just so many of this and so many of that. And you guys know that narcissism has become the buzzword of the 21st century, and rightfully so, right? Because I do believe that there is an old nasty piece of epidemic of narcissism that is sweeping the earth, and I think that it's going to get worse. I believe that the spirit and principality is going to be a prevailing force globally, child, okay, especially as the elite take over and continue to psychologically groom and torment and torture its citizens, child. That we're going to be seeing a lot of apathy. We're going to be seeing a lot of what I call the Walking Dead syndrome, baby, okay, which is when people or a person has just been stripped to their debased nature. They are in pure self-preservation mode and will operate in a selfishness and operate in a egotism that is practically inhumane, okay, that may result in violence, that may result in a deep and profound exploitation and usury, that may result in a very explicit degree of shallowness, materiality, and just a true lack of emotional intelligence. None of these qualities are going to go well for our world. They're not going to go well for our society. And as we can see by the headlines every single day, all over Instagram, all over social media, you have parents unaliving their children, children unaliving their parents, siblings unaliving siblings, friends unaliving friends. I mean, people just literally have no regard for human life, for human decency. People are just not standing on the level of business and ethics and morality that they need to. And all of this just kind of led me, for some reason, to jump into a conversation with myself about narcissism. And surviving narcissism and what to do in the aftermath of surviving narcissistic abuse. Now, I have a question for the chat. What's going on, Ray? Hey, Double T. What's going on, Rumors and T? Hey, Nicole. Hey, Miss Mika. Hey, TDC. What's going on? As sweet. The title stopped me on my tracks. The narcissist in my life is my mother. This ought to be interesting. All right. I was just going to ask the chat. How many of you guys have experienced narcissism? Okay. Can I get a raise of hands? If you have experienced narcissism, put a 1 in the chat. Deadman says, CTV, please take time to cover the United CEO order case. We need you to unpack this. Okay. Deadman, send me I'm talking about Deadman girl. Demond, send me some links to my email, consciouztv@gmail.com, so that I can catch up on everything, because it's so much content that I'm covering that, it's just a lot going on. So send me some links where I can get, I can be debriefed on everything that's taking place, and then we can come back and unpack it here. All right. Okay. Oh, well, almost everybody. Okay. People have narcissistic parents. Ray says, I got a few in my life, but I choose to pay them dust. Oh, period. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, interesting question before we get into the meat and the potatoes. What would you guys define as narcissism? Like, what is your definition of narcissism? And I'm going to wait up here as you guys give your definitions in the chat. How do you all define narcissism or narcissism? Okay, a type B personality trait and disorder. And please thumbs up if you guys are coming in. Thumbs up. Hey Tia, hey boo. Okay, Miss Lady says complete and utter selfishness. Hey GK, hey boo. Hey Serenity, hey love. Okay, GK says opportunist sociopath. All right. Ooh, nasty piece of sociopath. Child. Not sociopath. Okay, any other definitions, or do those pretty much sum total the disorder? Complete and utter selfishness, opportunistic sociopaths. Okay, Aaron says they think the world revolves around them and you are just there to facilitate their experience. Okay, selfish, evil beings who can't put themselves in someone else's shoes. Okay, apathetic. All right. People with insatiable egos who drain people around them and go as far as to abuse certain targeted individuals they think they can control. Wow. All right, it's sweet. Ray says a narcissist is a person who thinks they are the center of the entire known and unknown universe. Yolanda says, who think the world revolves around them. Okay. Thundercat says, energy vampires and destiny swapper. Oh, wow. Okay. Lisa says, complete lack of empathy. Okay. Rumors and T says, someone who believes they are the center of the world and never do wrong. Okay, let me see here. Never do wrong. Complete manipulators. Wow. All right, Rumors and T. BJ says arrogant. Lisa says inhumane. Double T says entitled, selfish, always the victims. GK says bullies. BJ says mood swings. Nicole says one who never considers others. Okay. Sacred Obsession says, I want to remove mine. Why should we tolerate narcissistic tactic behavior? From smear campaign coming after your character, psychological abuse, financial abuse, physical abuse, all mommy and daddy issues. I love the word mommy. Mommy, mom. I don't know why I love the word mommy so much. It's so sweet. Okay, TDC says stank nasty demons. Okay, Heather says always the victim. GK says them. All right. Okay, so those are pretty great definitions. All right. So now remember, what I'm going to discuss here is basically the title of the video, okay, which is why you shouldn't commit, okay, to destroying a narcissist. It's one thing to identify a narc, it's one thing to do your fair share of, making your experience available if that's what you feel the need to be. But I want to particularly and specifically speak to those who have experienced the devastating effects of narcissism and in return have committed to attempting to absolutely and utterly destroy the narcs, okay? And to spare the world of them, all right? I understand this urge. I understand the desire. But I want to put some perspective to this lifelong commitment to do so, okay? And I want to start off by saying, for one, I was under the influence of a grand narcissist for over 10 years of my life, and it was equally one of the worst and greatest journeys of my life, okay? My first known experience of grand narcissism and overt narcissism came out of my romantic life, all right? 10 years. Going through that ordeal was brutal and agonizing, especially not having any formal understanding of this personality disorder, and then to coming out in the end as a master student. Because at this point, baby, I consider myself nasty master student, baby, of narcissism, baby, both covert, overt, malignant, and every other damn variation of narcissist, okay? I can now detect, maneuver, and conquer a narc's conquest of me as a result of my experiences. This is something that, you have to be deeply trained in, because not everything about the narc is obvious to the naked eye. It's also elusive. And even more so if the narc is a grand master, because at that level, they've almost perfected the art of manipulation, gaslighting, love bombing, and psychological abuse. At that level, only those who have true knowing and intimate dealings with the narc knows the true apathetic beast that dwells behind the image. The closer you get to the narc, the more notable their condition is. And because grandmaster narcs are experts at smoke and mirrors and illusions and veils, do not even bother trying to convince those the farthest, okay, the farthest away from the narc, such as coworkers, neighbors, associates, maybe even family, fans, supporters, etc., of the narc's true core, because it's unseeable by those who only know the narc generally speaking. Narcs are, hands down, some of the worst humans you can ever end up involved with. And this condition is one of the worst soul defects that one can have. This condition destroys both the lives of those who live with it and those who live alongside the narc. Sometimes neither come out alive in the end. That's in extreme cases. However, most victims and survivors tend to struggle most with the way to handle the severe rage and the hate that often follows the experience of narcissism. Most strike out with revenge and commit to exposing the narc, even making it their life's work. And in some cases, that's actually warranted, such as if the narc has any societal power. I can understand. But most times, it doesn't really call for that. The reasons that you should not commit to avenging yourself against the narc is because, for one, you're still giving the narc what the narc desires, which is your attention. And that's their supply and been their supply this entire time. No matter how grueling or perverse your attempts are at destroying the narc, all of it in some way satisfies the twisted aspect of the narcissist who feels vindicated in holding your attention for better and for worse. They don't really care about the context of that attention, good or bad. Secondly, there's zero need in trying to ring the town bell to alarm everyone of the narc's existence. I mean, of course, you can do as you please, right? However, the truth is, everyone will know the truth that the narc lets in. And there's no one person inside the narc's life that doesn't know the truth. So it's a moot point to expose something already known by those who choose to sit on the narc's chessboard for their own reasons, and everyone has their own reasons. The main reasons those who remain accessible to the narc is because the narc is transactional by nature and love bombs through materiality, money, and possessions. And because most people are to some degree materialistic, this dynamic becomes beneficial to those who suffer in silence emotionally, mentally, and spiritually at the hands of the narc simply because there is a material gain. This perfectly pivots me to my next point, is that the narc who remains with not the narc, but the individuals who remain with the narc, aside from children, are full victims, are not full victims of the narc. They're not. Because I know a lot of times what motivates survivors of narcissistic abuse is the need to save everybody else who is either still around the narc or who may come into potential experience and proximity of the narc. But look, those individuals who remain behind are there because they are just as shallow in many ways as the narcissist is, and maybe even narcs themselves. So their dynamic with the narc works just fine. They know exactly what's happening and why they still remain. So please do not feel a call to rescue any of them fools from the burning house. They all know it's on fire, beloved, and their souls burn alongside the narcs willingly. Okay? There's also no need in confronting the narc because you'll only be gaslit into a psychosis or a love bomb just to shut the fuck up. But in either instance, you will not get what you need, which is sincere change and accountability from the narc. The narc disorder begins, or it's designed, okay, in and of itself, to lock the narcissist into only seeking fulfillment of their own needs. And your only value in a narcissist's life is to be a means to that fulfillment. You have no real humanity, nor will you be treated as such. That's the reason why the narc has never expressed genuine concern for you, even when you were knowingly in trouble, never asked you how you were genuinely, made themselves available to do anything for you that didn't benefit their egos or agenda, acted like a brick wall in most instances when you needed emotional availability, or made bad situations even worse for you. All those things became your experience because you never mattered, baby, and you never will. And guess what? That's also okay. So, what's the best thing to do if you find yourself on the bitter fucking end of a narcissistic experience? Well, I would say, for one, and I'm just sharing what has helped me throughout my life dealing with narcs. For one, take nothing personal about the experience because it isn't personal. The narc is just a shallow, wind up toy stuck in proverbial gear, and you were only caught in its path. Okay? Two, understand that to have experienced this directly is actually a gift because it will act as a point of reference when you end up in the pathway of another one. And there will be another one, baby. Oh, yes, there will, baby. There will be many, many, many others. Three, address your own personal issues that put you into such a gridlock with the narc because that experience probably revealed just as much about your own people pleasing, abandonment, and low self-esteem issues as it did about the narcs. I know my experience with narcs throughout my life has been very revelatory, not just about narcs, but also about myself. Okay. 4, take all your data and allow it to make you even greater and wiser, because such a harrowing ordeal has the power to transform you for the better. Lastly, solid revenge. If you really, really are hell-bent, though, on avenging yourself, the only thing that constitutes as revenge against the narc, the only revenge that the narc will feel in the way you intend for revenge to feel upon those you afflicted with, is your own personal happiness. Yes, the H word, the J word, your joy, baby. Narcs, because of their delusion of grandeur, truly believe they are necessary and the greatest gift to you, but your personal happiness actually obstructs this perception of their ego, which then leads to an injury of their very shallow identities. But of course, all of this won't even matter to you if you're genuinely on the path of personal happiness anyway. Whatever becomes of the narc just becomes of the narc. What matters is what becomes of you. You've given the narc enough of your time. Do you really want to commit any more time to being retaliatory and just as obsessed with the narc as the narc is of you? Because the gag about revenge upon the narc is it's an endless cycle. Because the narc was able to hold you captive to begin with because of your willingness to prove yourself to the narc, to prove how much you love them, how much they mean to you, how worthy you are. And now in your hurt, they're able to get you to committing to the same egotism of proving that the narc is evil, the narc is cruel, and that the narc is wrong. One of the greatest rewards of the narcissistic experience is that it gives us, those who have survived it, the opportunity to die unto ourselves and to lose the ego so that we can be truly free. Something the narc will never know, because the narc is all ego. The real supply that the narc is actually feeding off of is not even your love, but your egotism. And this is why most people struggle to repair themselves after narcissistic abuse. And this is the reason why most people find themselves plunged into the vortex of narcissism and become victims of the gaslighting, of the backbiting, of all of those things, is because of one's own ego and identifying with the egoic self. Now, another reason why most people struggle to repair themselves after narcissistic abuse is because they fixate on trying to unlove the narc. But it's not even the love, it's actually the ego of the victim that was the true source of attachment and victimhood to begin with. No narc has ever been so without falling on their own sword eventually and into self-destruction. And there will be no exception to that rule, no matter who the narc is. So do not worry about what ultimately is inevitable. You just pray to your ancestors that you get a front row seat when the day comes. And as we can see from many well-known assholes of the world, baby, that the day definitely comes. But ultimately, to win against the effects and tactics of the narc, you must give up your ego, not your love, but your ego. This is your greatest asset. This is your greatest superpower, is your ability to disassociate and detach and to overcome the ego for your higher self. Once you understand and accept that the narc is looking for your feedback, they're looking for your energy, they're looking for you hovering, they're looking for you. to prove either your worthiness of their embrace or your commitment to make now the rest of your life about exposing the fuck out of them when you've accepted that they win in either one of those instances. Because that's all the narc is seeking is your obsession with them, is your need for them. Then baby, you will understand why your greatest capability is to let go of the ego that is trying to prove itself for better or for worse and trying to cop the plea and trying to plead its case before the narc or before the world stage about the narc. You will then really bob to the top of your higher self where there is nothing to prove because all that is already everything as it should be. There is no ego in the higher self. It does not matter that the narc won. It does not matter that the narc got some type of your life, some type of your time. Time is irrelevant to the higher self. Circumstance is not a reality to the higher self. Who's good, who's bad is not necessary and relevant to the higher self. The higher self is just a state of consciousness that is completely complete and has surrendered to the blissfulness and the overabundance of the resources and virtue of spirit and of life. And you don't cut yourself and pinch yourself off from that just because you've been hurt. You continue to make your life mission about joy, about seeking a healthy self, seeking healthy relationships, and doing good with your little time here on this crazy ass ball or flat earth, as some would like to call it. Okay? You are only helping the narc by continuing to drive all of your attention toward them, even if, once again, that intent is to destroy them. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You are still a supply for the narc in either instance. If you want to fuck the narc up, love yourself. If you want to fuck the narc up, smile again. If you want to fuck the narc up, go be motherfucking successful and fucking thrive in your life. This is what leads to narcissistic injury in the narcissist, who is depending upon you and your ego to make them important to you in one way, shape, or another. But when you transcend that all together and your life is filled with good and your life is blessed with or without them, then you get the so-called effects of revenge that you are in fact looking for. And somebody needed to hear this today. I don't know who needed to hear it, baby, but what I know is that there are a lot of mad ass people in the world. There are a lot of people, baby, who have committed all of their time and all of their energy and all of their resources, baby, and it's resulting in doing nothing but making people more fucking miserable. Instead of people being introspective about their experiences, taking away what's needed about themselves and what's to be learned about these spirit types and then going forth in their life in good glory. I mean, I really don't think people understand how high maintenance bitterness is. How high maintenance anger is. How high maintenance resentment is. Oh my God. And you really don't really understand how heavy of a burden these lower emotions and frequencies are until you're actually free from them. And then you're like, oh my God, it feels like you literally went from obese to skinty minty, baby. There is like a literal experiential weight that is associated with anger and with resentment and with frustration, but you don't know that until you vacation your ass away from those frequencies and you can exhale and breathe again, and you realize just how fucking weighed down and burdened you actually have been until your moment of freedom comes. Thank you, Heather. Thank you so much. Boo, 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 boo. Okay. So I'm basically here to tell you in a very hooked on phonics way that narcissists are not worth your time, baby. They're not worth the fight. They're not worth the fuss. They're not worth the revenge. They're not worth any of that shit. Please don't even feed their egos and gratify them even more than you already have by fucking around and accidentally liking and loving them to begin with. Okay, you'll only be playing right into the narcissist trap. And the only way to be free from the scathing effects of narcissistic abuse is to transcend self and to transcend the ego, because the narcissist is dependent on your ego to fuck with you, right? Because when you really think about gaslighting, what is gaslighting? Gaslighting is me basically covertly insulting you and or triggering you intentionally in a way that only you recognize, though. Gaslighting is equivalent to being the ghost that only you saw in the room. And it's designed that way because it's designed for you. It's a weapon and a bullet and an injury that's designed for you, and to be cloaked and to be unrecognizable to everybody else, so that when you respond and react, you look crazy to everybody else because they have no idea what the fuck you're making a big to-do with. That's why it's called gaslighting. It's particular to you. It's particular to your plight, your dynamic, your self-esteem, your particular triggers, your particular trauma, and the narc is a specialist, okay? And knowing just how to stimulate and arouse those fragile parts of yourself or those egoic parts of yourself, so that they can get you to act a goddamn fool and look like a goddamn loony bin to everybody else. Okay, but guess what? If you don't have an ego at all, you can't be gaslit because attachment is all in your ego. Your trauma is all in your ego. It's not in your higher self. You don't take your trauma with you. Okay? These are all qualities and aspects of your ego. But the reason why overcoming the ego is a very difficult thing to do is because most human beings are not walking around life really dying unto self to begin with. If anything, we live in a culture, we live in communities, we live in families, we live in systems that actually reinforce the development of the ego, that actually encourage a ego. So to be in a situation where your ego actually is what's destroying you, your ego is what's actually allowing other people to harm you through their bullying tactics, through their psychological manipulative tactics, through their bullshit, through their lower self, can be a great feat, but it is not an impossible one. And this is where the need to develop spirituality comes into play at, and why I believe that spirituality should not be a luxury, but it should be a necessity. Because without being able to escape the confinements of the matrix, without being able to escape the confinements of the inauthentic self, without being able to escape the lower self, we're bound by the gravitational effects of the matrix that it's associated with, and we're tethered indirectly into other people's egos, who get to utilize their egos to oppress us, to afflict us, and ultimately to control and or destroy us. You know, there's one of my favorite scriptures, and I don't read a lot of the Bible no more, so I'm gonna have to refresh myself, baby, because my scriptures, my scriptural remembrance, baby, okay, slipping away from me. But there's a verse equivalent to, or that just all out says, I think it's when Christ is on the cross and God is reconciling the world through the personification of Yeshua. That the higher self of Christ, which is known as the Father, his unconscious, the Father, this is all about unconscious, is the Father, the Mother, was reconciling the world, evaluating the world, healing the world up in himself through a higher transformative conversation and dialogue about what's in the world and what became a Christ's experience, or God's experience through Christ in the world. What you see hung up on the cross is the ego of God. Okay? And you see this reflected in some of the sentiments and some of the things that are transpiring, such as those who have persecuted Christ, put him up on that cross, and Christ looking down and then looking up to his higher self and remembering to forgive them, for they know not what they do, and they know not what they do because they're stuck in their ego self. They actually believe they are righteous in their persecution of a righteous man. They have no conscience, therefore have no consequence, have no there's no referee between these people and that which they succumb to, that which they feel, etc. And yet, as Christ could have called a legion of angels off to take him off that cross, could have opened up the damn apocalypse, could have swallowed up Jerusalem, swallowed up all of the Middle East, baby, into a hellhole. Instead, Christ was detaching himself from the very thing that these people were using to justify harming him, and instead sought forgiveness and understood the context of their ignorance and did not make that about him, which is why there was no revenge that followed. Christ was reminding himself, baby, what these people have done to me ain't about me. This is perpetuated throughout Christ's teaching when he's talking to his members and disciples and saying, look, these hoes gonna be raggedy in the world. These hoes gonna be towed up. They're gonna be afflicted. They're gonna be byproducts of trauma, of culture, of etc. child. But turn the other cheek. That was Christ reminding folk, don't make what these lower individuals do about you, because then you'll be gaslit into becoming a shell of yourself as well, when none of this is in fact about them. Yes, we're going to be always here talking about God, and guess what, Trump is a result of the universe giving this culture what it wants, GK. Okay? Trump is a symbol and an archetype of where we are as a society and our fucking egos. So the audacity, right, of a completely egocentric society resurrecting a completely egocentric leader. That's actually logical. That maths. Trump is a symbol of the collective. Okay, this is larger than Trump. You can't look at Trump as a individual isolated manifestation, but you have to look at the fact that the people placed him there because he's a reflection. He is a mirror of the psychological and spiritual and intellectual condition of the people who put him there, baby. Okay? And that's why y'all better get ready. Because, baby, this ain't about Trump as a person, baby. What y'all just got made factually aware of as a result of Trump winning the presidency is the fact that you're living amongst lots of little Trump Juniors. And you better get ready for that. You better get ready for that, baby. You're living amongst a vortex and a collective of little Trump clones. And I don't know how each of y'all plan on dealing with that, baby, but I know them hoes ain't about to run me raggedy. Baby. I know exactly who they came to test and to try. But as Yahshua said, baby, when the lower God of this world come for me, baby, that motherfucker will find nothing in me, baby. So, baby, I know exactly where I'm going to be the next 4 years, but I know exactly where I'm going to be in my mind, where I'm going to be in my heart, where I'm going to be in my being as 4 years of tribulation. And the accuser of the brethren is out there doing what it's on assignment to do by higher power, baby. Okay, which is to reveal the reality of the world, so that we in turn can take the opportunity, just like that of the experience of narcissists, to transcend and to develop into a higher grade of ourselves. Because that's what I'm going to use Trump and the Trump administration to do, is to develop a even deeper version of self, an even more grounded version of self, even more intact, even more whole, made whole version of thyself. I didn't know we were live, loud, and in color. Oh, yes, it's Nene, we are. And the narc is texting me now. Baby. They never forget you, baby, okay? I got one of my narcs been trying to come see me, baby, for the past few weeks, baby. And I just been ducking and dodging and stop, dropping and damn rolling, even though the narc is no longer a threat to me because I know who I am now. And the narc doesn't have that power. They don't have that grip. They don't have that stronghold on me now. So the narc is no longer a threat. But as a result of me doing so much of my work in the aftermath, the narc isn't even my damn type anymore. You know, I at least was gonna keep the narc on the back burner, you know, for a little roll around in the sack every now and again, baby. But I ain't even attracted physically any damn more. I'm just completely over it. But the narc will never forget you, because especially when you have been one of their greatest supplies, which in an interesting way, you can actually utilize that you know, as a little flex on yourself, you know, because the more the narc circles the block and all of that shit is really indicative of the fact that You were everything that you thought you were to the narc, that the narc is convincing you that you weren't. You were as loving as you were supposed to be. You were as communal. You were as sacrificial. And these are all the things that make you a wonderful supply for a narc, and why you're going to always be unforgettable. Even if you never have any communication with the narc for the rest of your life, you live in the narc forever, 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 forevermore, baby. The better you are as a lover, the better you are as a light giver, the better you are in your empathy, baby, the greater and more profound impact you're going to have on the narc. So the narcs never forget their supplies. They're in constant need of them, which is why they're incubated into systems and keep themselves surrounded by yes men, and oftentimes are attracted to occupational roles that warrant a lot of feedback and attention from the general public. You know, they're very empty inside, but the better of a supply you are, the more memorable you are. So yeah, you're never really going to be forgetting. You expect their ass to circle the block, expect their ass to come crawling back, expect all of that. And once again, you know, I was kind of shocked that the reason I didn't want to see my narc wasn't because he was a narc, but was because I just wasn't attracted anymore. And then I realized, oh my God, wait, I'm not afraid of the narc. The narc is no longer an emotional threat to me. It's no longer a mental threat to me. It's no longer anything to me, because I've overcome the self that they were a threat to, and I've relinquished my ego. So now, whatever they tell themselves when they don't get what they want from me, it doesn't bother me. Let me be every skank, skeezer, hoe. Let me be all of that, baby. There's no, let me be every witch doctor. Let me be every, baby, call me the narc. How about that? Okay. All of those things fall flat. They are no more. You have no power here, Freddie. Okay? I have stepped into my Nancy bag on Elm Street, baby. Okay? You have no power here, baby. Your words, your narratives, your smear campaign, your tactics, none of it, baby. None of it. None of it. None of it. You have no power here. Okay? You don't live here anymore. Here in my heart, in my consciousness, in my mind. So whatever you have to do to feel better about yourself, okay, as a narc, whether that's make me the narc in your story, make me the villain in your story, baby, enjoy it, baby. Okay. I'll probably be sitting with popcorn my damn self, enjoying the shit show of it all. But you grow into that, okay? And once again, I realized in my own experience that it wasn't the love that I needed to overcome for the narcs in my life. It was the ego that really made me fall victim to their tactics. If you cannot overcome your ego, you won't be able to overcome their gaslighting. You won't be able to overcome uh their silent treatment or their humiliation rituals of you. You won't be able to actually overcome those things. You will be buried under the avalanche of all of the narcissistic tactics that they do to control you, to punish you, to keep your ass in line. You know, there are a plethora of arsenal in the narcissist bag, and the only way to ultimately be unaffected by all of that weaponry and arsenal is to have transcended the ego. Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. Now let me read some of the comments, child. I usually stay in your bushes, but this is a great subject. Thank you, Dot the Right Thing. Okay. And once again, this is just a general and just a conversation toward people who are really struggling, because I know that the experience of narcissistic abuse can be very polarizing to the point that people really want to take the life of the goddamn narc. Okay. I mean, it gets real dark, it gets real ugly. And I've seen some of the egoic coping mechanisms of those who have survived narcissistic abuse. And oftentimes I've seen those coping mechanisms do more harm to the actual victim and kind of keep them lodged into this arena with the narc, which only benefits the actual narc as much as the victim may think that they are helping themselves or helping the world by continuing to go after this very wounded individual. I mean, unless that wounded individual, once again, has some type of societal power, then, I would encourage people to really kind of deepen their healing by relinquishing the ego so that they can truly be free and they can live and go on with their lives without the narcissist being made a purpose out of. The only thing you want to make a purpose out of when it comes to the narc is the experience. But in terms of the personal obsession over the individuality of the narc, the individual identity of the narc, no, you're going to stay in this repetitive wash and rinse with the narc, and the narc is going to enjoy it. The narc is going to enjoy having your attention. They're going to enjoy your smear campaigns. They're going to enjoy all of the negative attention you're giving to them, because that's, once again, all they were after to begin with. Narcs are deeply wounded individuals who had very troubled, fucked up childhoods. A lot of time you find this historically when it comes to the development of covert, overt, or malignant narcissism, is that it all goes back to childhood. It all goes back to childhood woundedness. It all goes back to deep emotional abandonment, psychological abandonment, physical abandonment, sometimes physical abuse, sexual abuse. You find this to be historically the profile for lots of people who unfortunately develop a narcissistic complex in order to really cope with their trauma. Which is why, once again, as hard as it is to not take the experiences of the narc personally, this is why you shouldn't, because it's really not about you. Everything that the narc did to you, said to you, put you through, had nothing to do with you. It had to do with themselves. And you were just in the pathway of the narc, just like those of Hurricane Katrina. It's no fault of your own. However, if you see a pattern develop in your life where you consistently attract abusers, whether that's emotional, whether that's mental or physical, then it's important as well, like any experience, to look at yourself, because you may be unconsciously welcoming and inviting these experiences into your life because of your own undealt with, unhealed trauma. And as Iyanla said to a married couple, you guys think you guys came together in love. What you guys really came together in was woundedness. And the vibration of your unconscious wounds and the narc's unconscious wounds vibrated you guys into proximity of each other, either in the form of friendship, in the form of marriage, in the form of romance, in the form of whatever. Okay, so you definitely always want to be introspective, no matter who the fuck the so-called villain is in the situation, because your own victimhood also plays a role into why a abuser is able to be successful in your life. Okay, now, because the world is filled with abusers, you cannot completely avoid abusers. And there's no amount of self-work, there's no amount of walking high vibrationally, there's no amount of transcendence that's going to void you of coming into contact with very dark spirits, because dark people are in the world, wounded people are in the world. But what you want to do is, once again, make sure, like Yeshua said about himself, I'm going to make sure that everything in me is clear, so that when the enemy, when the broken, when the woundedness of this world comes to me, that it will find nothing in me. Because that will be the deal breaker in terms of whether a abuser will be fully successful in your life. If you're able to strengthen and elevate your self-awareness, you're able to actually heal your deep wounds, childhood wounds, adult wounds, father fractures, mommy fractures, family fractures, church hurt, all the shit. You're able to address those things. This is what allows you to be able to escape the capture of an abuser sooner than later. The more self-aware you are, the more healed you are, the less successful an abuser can be in your life. Okay? But oftentimes, the narc is vibrating on the level of either known or unknown trauma within ourselves. And that's why they're able to do a number on us. But because those experiences, baby, are so enlightening, if you're mature enough to not just make this about the narc, but to make it about you too, and you intentionally seek that data and information, and you explore the connection between you and the narc, like, why me? Why I did this? Why did I allow this person to make a fool of me? Why did I allow them to hurt me and defile me and dishonor me? Why did I allow this? What's going on with me that I allowed myself to lay down again and again and again and again and again? Okay, when you're also seeking you out and all of that. Because it takes two to tango, baby. And sometimes we don't know that we dancing. Sometimes we don't know, baby, that we sending out signals, baby. Sometimes we don't know, baby, that we're saying yes, 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 unconsciously to the things that we're saying no, 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 no to consciously. Okay? This is equivalent to a person surviving a DV, domestic violence, emotional and mental violence, and then saying at surface, I don't want to be abused no more. I don't ever want to be a part of no type of shit like this again. But then you go on to be in 3, 4, 5 more damn abusive relationships. And ironically, the statistics show that most victims will be re-victimized. They have an even greater chance of being re-victimized. You know why most victims have a greater chance of being even more victimized even after they get rid of their purported abuser is because they acquire more wound that they do not deal with, that keeps them on the sonar, that keeps them on the radar of that which is seeking to destroy them. That's why most victims statistically will be victimized again and again and again by other individuals long after their initial abusers, because the entrapment, the entanglement, as Jada Pinkett Smith calls it, is rooted in the ego and rooted in the unconscious, unhealed hurt that lies in many of people, either knowingly or unbeknownst to them, baby. And that's why you gotta clean that shit up, because it will create a pathology in your human experience. It will create a hurtful and painful, pessimistic pattern in your life. And you'll be walking around here going to damn witch doctors and going to damn hoodoo specialists thinking that you damn cursed, because what you're calling a curse is really a pathology of the making of your own undealt with trauma. You're not cursed, baby. Nobody cursed ya. Ain't no old ass bitch got mad at your old ass grandma and cursed her and her damn lineage. And now you sitting in all this bullshit. No. And guess what? The same self-awareness and self-love that breaks up this monotony between the abused and the abuser is the same elixir that breaks up the monotony between a cursed and those who are cursed. You know why curses prevail in people's lives? Because just like in the case of a narc, the curse is only able to be fulfilled because it has something to Bluetooth into. Your device, aka your consciousness, has to have Bluetooth capability, aka if a bitch damns you or curses you, and then you have self-loathing in you, you have parts of yourself that are unworthy, that are unloved, that are broken. This is how a curse is able to hijack your life and to perpetuate itself by and by, through and through. The same way that viruses need a low immune system. So think of your emotional body and your mental body as an immune system. And think of the curse as the virus. And if the condition of your emotional body, your mental body is not well, then this allows you to be a perfect host for that infection, for that virus, for that disease, that aka curse. When Christ was saying, I'm going to overcome myself so that when the one who wants to conquer me comes for me, they will not be able to do so. He was talking about raising his frequency, raising the quality of his being, the quality of his thinking, the quality of his living, the quality of his feeling, so that he is incompatible with anything that is less than higher thought, less than higher reality. Anything, any weapon that actually forms and prospers, not form, because anything can form against you. Any weapon that prospers against you is a weapon that you either knowingly or unknowingly do not know you are a energetic match to. And I believe that this is also why minority communities in the West continue to be afflicted as well and continue to fall prey to our oppressors. It's because we've been culturally grown through religious bashing, cultural bashing, to have a low quality of thought and a low quality of feeling about ourselves, about our circumstance, about other people like us. And that allows the principalities personifying themselves through human body to continue to rule and to maintain status quo over us. The math and the principle is the same whether you magnify it on a macro level or whether you simplify it on a micro and a dodo one. The same principle is at work. There has to be compatibility. My baby mothers. Thank you, baby mother Jennifer. Thank you, baby mother Brenda, for the nasty child support chat. Thank y'all so much. Y'all know all donation information is in the description box below. Okay? So overcome yourself, baby. Overcome yourself. Do not commit your whole life to trying to then prove something about the narc, to trying to prove yourself right about the narc, to try to prove to the narc is wrong, baby. You're going to be going in the wrong direction at full damn speed, and one day you're going to look up and realize that you never actually moved on with your fucking life, and you never actually gave your life the opportunity to recover and to grow the fuck up and to transmute and transcend because you continued to allow the narc to vacuum you into their world exclusively. And that only works out for the narc, baby. Doesn't work out for the victim who can become a survivor eventually. Thank you so much, baby. Mother Teresa, for the old nasty donation, child. Okay, let me read some of these comments, child. Beautiful Me says, yes, your subconscious is on a low frequency. The frequency that plus fear, hate, etc., all low emotions. Yes, God. Well, see, people stay because candle magic is being done. They are being held hostage because the person is spiritually being held. Yeah, but once again, self-awareness and self-love is your force field to all energies, all rituals, all power seen and unseen in the universe that are yielding you because of their own because of their own agenda. Okay, I know that we make a lot of spell casting and a lot of magic, a lot of occultism, and a lot of all of that, but you know, so funny is that magic is very fragile because it's all obliterated and it's all destroyed in the face of actualized love. And you know why love will always break any low vibrational pattern, anything that's meant to corrode and to erode at you, is because love and God and the God force and the God presence and the God reality are synonymous with one another. Love is the highest force and energy of existence. It's literally the perpetual principle of nature. If you look out at nature, everything in nature but us as people, right, gives. The trees give. The ground gives. The sky gives. The oceans give. The animals give. It's all in such a the principle of God and the principle of love is in such a perpetual balance in nature that it doesn't even need man intervention in order to be of balance. It's self-operative. We are the only creation on the planet, along with all of our other conscious brothers and sisters who here, you know, those gray aliens, those reptiles, that Bigfoot, that Sasquatch, all those goddamn cryptoid beings, all those other interdimensional entities. You know, we get to operate against nature, which is why our presence here is conflicting with the system of nature. You know, we're colonizing the planet, capitalism is destroying it, kingdoms of other species are going extinct as a result. You know, we're obviously not contributing. Okay, which is why we have to get back to our pagan origins. Okay, one of the beautiful results of paganism is that paganism is very synonymous with being in relationship to Mother Nature. It's with respect and reverence of the earth, of Mother Earth, of Father Spirit. And because we've deviated a lot from our pagan origins and got into a Western religious, and not even it's a West, but just a religiosity, we can see the grave effects that the shift in mentality, the shift in philosophy is actually having on the way in which we play our respective roles relative to the role of nature. And right now, just like a narcissistic relationship, we're the only ones that's benefiting from the earth. We're the only ones that's benefiting from nature. It's not mutual. It is take on our end. And give on the earth's end. And we are already seeing the scathing effects of that. And human powers are going to further exploit that to get us to depend upon their system, which allows them to develop a bottom dollar, which is why you see all these GMO foods and all of this development of technology to substitute the things we are destroying in nature. And you got to really think about who that all benefits in the end, and what type of world are we really leaving for our children and their 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 children. Whatever the expiration of the earth is, baby, we are going to fucking expedite it being here, and we're going to expedite our own existence here as well, because all things do come to an end regardless, but we're going to come to an end way faster than we would have, baby, if we were practicing in reverse. So I'm going to get out of here because I'm hungry. Hello, Diana. Hey, boo. What's going on, Saudi? Hey, Pana. Love. Trees do not kill by nature. There are types of trees and flowers that have the capacity to kill those who are not supposed to be eating that of. Okay? Knowledge is empowerment, baby. Trees of all kinds, poisonous and are not poisonous, have and provide life to mankind. Isn't that interesting? That even the poisonous trees hold on, y'all. Hold on, y'all. Okay, I gotta get out of here. Child. But I love y'all. We'll further this discussion, child. I just had this on my heart to give away. But live your life, be happy, thrive, child. Life is good, God is greater. Be in unison with that which is, and don't allow anything and anybody to corrode at your personal happiness, baby. You deserve a lot better, and it's up to you to give you that better. All right, I love y'all all. Make sure y'all subscribe, share, subscribe, child. And if there's anything you heard in this discussion that you want me to expound upon, leave it in the comment section, because then I'll come back and I'll make sure that we expound upon, baby. Okay, that'll actually help me to create more content as an extension of this subject matter. So anything that you want me to expound upon, anything you want me to speak more to, anything that you heard here today, like, I want to hear more of that, or I got a question, or I got this, leave all that shit in the comment section, baby, because I'm going to, I'm going to compile all that up and turn it into, another live stream, child. All right. So y'all, thumbs up. Yes, Cash App is right here on the screen. Consciouztv, spelled just how it is here on the platform, and or paypal.me/Consciouztv, spelled just how it is here. Email me alt@consciouztv@gmail. Sign up to Patreon. Follow me on Instagram. All that good jazz. I love you all. Have a great weekend, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.